Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, managing editor of Canada's Podcasts. Today on Edmonton's podcast, my guest is Jacquie Verenka, who is owner of JV Ventures Retreats. Thanks, Jacquie, for joining us today.
Hi, Mario. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, let me just start by asking you maybe explain what JV Ventures Retreats is and what you do.
Okay, so JV is kind of a play on words, or I guess that's my initials, first of all, but joint venture because I do different things with different companies. So it kind of just worked well together. Yeah, so and then the retreats. So just basically, I put together a company that encompasses wellness. So just from my own experiences over the past couple of years and different things that I was going through, I realized there was a real need for something like this. So I started meeting with people and hotels and getting all the logistics together. And then I just jumped up, jumped in, and here we are. And I've got my first retreat coming up November 8th to 10th. And it's at the beautiful Fairmont Chateau Lake Louise. So it's an all-inclusive women's wellness retreat. So I
Hmm.
can tell you more about it if you want to know the speakers and that kind of thing, but that's the premise and that's how it all started.
Well, let me just ask, just to backtrack for a second. What brought you to this? And maybe explain the background and the reasons why you've started this.
Yeah, so it's been a journey, like I said, over the past couple of years. So I've always, I've been an entrepreneur all my life, doing had different businesses and things, but there was a little bit of a time where I took a break, and during that time, certain things were going on personally in my life. So um, my mother-in-law, who was a very close to me, I was basically her main caregiver. So and that was like 2 years ago. So basically 22, I spent a lot of time with her. She did pass away. Then after that happened, I wanted to take just kind of like a little mental break. And we went on this beautiful holiday, and in the time too, we had built a home during COVID, which was taxing in itself. A
Yeah.
lot was going on. We had all of our stuff organized pre-COVID, pricing and trades and all of that. Then we started, and boom, COVID hit, and
Yeah.
everything went crazy. So, that was a stressful time. Prices doubled. Took extra long because of the trades, all while I'm still, looking after the parents and my kids and trying to build this house and run a business. So very taxing time, but wonderful. I love our place. Like, it's a beautiful home. So then there was sort of that whole stress, then a build up with my mother-in-law. Then finally, we're nice and we're settled. We're on this trip. And then our daughter, who I knew this time was coming, but she'd been with her boyfriend for quite some years already, phones us in Costa Rica and says that they're gonna move out and she's gonna build a house. And I'm like, and
Oh,
I'm old school. I'm like, okay, I knew that was coming, but I kind of thought she would be with us a few more years until she got married. But
yeah.
this day and age, kids do things differently. So I was like on holidays trying to prep myself. I get home, and literally 2 weeks later, they found a house. They
Oh,
bought it. She moved out. And then in that time too, and I have to backtrack, my dad during this past 4 years, was diagnosed with dementia. So the decline of my dad and everything my mom was going through, that day, Father's Day, she moved out. Father's Day, he ended up in emergency,
oh, well.
spent the next 6 months at the hospital. Then my daughter gets engaged. So I was just like, I didn't even have time to mourn my daughter leaving.
Yeah.
Then my dad goes in the hospital. Then my daughter's engaged and her life is exciting and starting. They bought a new house. So I was just like this, Mario, like up, down on my emotions, right? So you just kind of go on autopilot, get through. I knew I had to be there strong for my mom, um, because she really put her life on hold for the past 2 years just to accommodate the house and do everything to make it accessible for my dad, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, 6 months go by, and then I was with him, thankfully, till right to the end. So he passed away with my brother and I holding his hand, and that
Mm.
was November of last year. Then we get through the funeral and all of that, and the whole time too, I'm getting calls from the Alzheimer's Society and just checking in. Are you doing okay? And I'm like, yes, I'm like totally good. Like, I understand what's going on, all this stuff, but really I was just functioning, just getting through. And then in February is when it really, like, of this year, that all of a sudden all of that's done, the funeral's done, My mom's kind of now getting used to her new normal. We're getting used to it. And it's like, holy, it hit me, right? It actually hit me at that point. I hadn't really grieved even the loss of my dad, or when somebody has Alzheimer. If
Yeah.
you know, you kind of, they explained to me, you lose that person twice. So really I did, because my dad didn't know who I was in the end. And I was just that lady that came to visit. So, and I didn't think it bothered me. And then I finally, when I had time to just slow down, it did. So that's when I realized everything kind of hit me. Just that my daughter moving out, my mother-in-law, then my dad, my mom, caregiver, my daily activity of going to the hospital every day. Like, it was like, now that's not there. So it's like, what's my purpose now? Like, what am I doing now? Like, what do I want to do? And
Yeah.
um, just trying to figure out my next steps, right? Because really, I had put my life on hold for quite some time. And I think, Mario, not no disrespect to the men, but women really, we are, like, I feel like we're typically more so the ones that are the glue that holds it all together,
Yeah.
the ones nurturing everybody, looking after everybody, and sometimes we forget about ourselves. So
True.
that's what happened to me. And so I thought, you know what, this isn't like me. I'm not feeling myself. I don't like how I'm feeling. I think too, hormonal changes, the perimenopause was happening. So I was, like I said, a basket of every emotion you can imagine. So my
Yeah.
cousin, who had lost her dad, said, you know what, I started doing all these things. Like, you should try this breath work. It's really amazing. Have you done meditation? And I really hadn't. I've heard about it, and I know, yeah, I always think, okay, my mind races a million miles an hour. I don't know if that's just an entrepreneur thing too, but at night I'm laying there and my mind's thinking, but I'm tired. So I started trying all these different modalities.
Mm.
So that's kind of what led me to this whole retreat. So then, while I was at these different groups, and women groups and women talking, it became very clear that obviously I wasn't alone. Many women share
Yeah.
this, whether it's that empty nest feeling, or grief, caregiver, like whether you lose a spouse or a parent, it's a tough, and it's hard to kind of wrap your head around. So I thought, here I am jumping from meditation to yoga to sound bath, and it's all over the city, and these are all great modalities. Let's put it together. Let's just put this all together, so
Mm.
women can really come, just take a weekend together, and women really find comfort in talking and bonding and community. And
Hmm.
that's what I wanted to create. So that's the
Mm.
whole premise. So it was from a self journey of myself and discovery of what helped me and what I wanted. And
Yeah.
then I wanted to put it together for other ladies as well.
Tell me a little bit about this upcoming retreat and what that's about.
Yeah, so it's an all-inclusive. So it's 2 nights accommodation at the beautiful Fairmont Chateau Lake Louise. Your meals are included. We've got a welcome reception, swag bags, door prizes. I have 3 amazing lady guest speakers, and then we have 5 different presenters. So we are doing, and it's more of also just an educational session too, learning about how does meditation help you, and how do you actually do it? It's not just sitting there staring out. But so we were doing meditation, then we're doing yoga, facial maneuvers. We have a dance session, 90 breath work, which is really something different. Not a lot of people experience it. And then we are ending with a beautiful candlelight sound bath on Saturday evening. And then my speaker ladies, so I have Christina Botello. She's the founder of KB and Co. So her story is just about the power of resilience and faith and believing in yourself and pursuing that as an entrepreneur or whatever it is in your life. The next speaker we have is Tracy Bateman, and she is the co-founder of Bliss Medi Spa here in Edmonton, and she's also a personal coach. So she talks about work-life balance and stress management. And then our third speaker she's a multi-award winning TV producer, and her name is Jessie Shuchuk. And her topic is, I think you might know Jessie, yes, is on menopause. So it's basically called From Burnout to Breakthrough, a menopause journey of self-discovery and radical healing. And it's a really impactful topic for women that sometimes get misdiagnosed. Mario, I know this is a woman thing,
Yeah.
but like our honestly, we wonder sometimes, are we going crazy? I'm forgetting this, and why am I? And it's really our emotions. And a lot of times it gets misdiagnosed. Like, people are, oh, you're anxious, or you're just depressed. It's actually just our hormonal imbalance. And until you talk to other women and really understand what's happening, you don't know. So those 3 ladies are amazing, and they're going to be there as well. And yeah, so that's kind of it's from Friday. It's over the long weekend, which gives ladies the Monday off. for the
The
ones that
date,
do have to.
the dates
It,
again?
no, yeah, November 8th to 10th.
Okay.
So check in and everything starts about 6:30 on the Friday with a welcome cocktail reception, introductions, all of that. Full day Saturday itinerary, and then we're going to wrap up mid-afternoon about 1:32 on Sunday. So it still gives ladies time to, look around Lake Louise, go to Banff,
Hmm.
take their time to get home wherever they're from, and then still have it sort of a nice slow day on the Monday.
Now I smiled when you mentioned Jesse because Jesse was one of my guests within the
Oh,
past year as well
oh,
on Anna's podcast.
amazing.
Yeah, great
Lovely
story.
lady.
Great story. Yeah, great personality. It was fun podcast.
Awesome.
So let's talk in general about retreats. And, obviously, we live in a fast-paced world, it's nonstop. There seems to be not enough hours in the day for people, etc. How important is it for people in general just to take that time off and even consider doing a retreat in whatever manner that may be?
Well, I think that's so important. That's the whole point is too, because we are so busy in our daily lives and we are running from here to there, checking our phones and social media. And it's just like, it's a nonstop, right, activity and a buzz constantly. And that's how I felt for so long until I really had time just to kind of be quiet and silent and mindful and had time to really think about like what am I doing, like what do I want and what do I need to work on, and that's the purpose of this, just to give the ladies that opportunity. I know it's just a weekend, but that might be enough just to take that little break, right, from the kids, the pets, the driving, chauffeuring, parents, constant work engagements and commitments. Like this is just a time to learn some new things, and maybe it won't resonate with everybody. They may not like breath work or they may not like meditation, but at least you've been introduced. It's about experiencing something new, maybe that you haven't already, and just connecting with others too. So yeah, it is very important to take a break and just be present. I find we live so fast, and even though you're with your family, sometimes you're not always present with them. Everybody's checking their phones or they're, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, and it's like, no, put the phones down. Like, let's just chat, right? Let's just have some family time. So yes, and with and I think too, since COVID, the hybrid working environment has changed so much that people don't have that human contact as much. Like you can work 1 or 2 days in the office, but then the rest can be at home behind your computer. And people love the community and being around one another. And that's what this retreat's creating.
It's tough for people though to be still and to be silent. Don't you
It
think?
is.
Yeah. Any suggestions for people like how to approach something like that? How to approach and be prepared for a retreat because for many, it can be intimidating in the sense that they need all those distractions in their lives, but once you try to get rid of all those distractions, it's kind of out of your, I don't know, comfort zone in some ways, I guess.
Yeah, it is, especially if you're a high-paced individual. And that honestly, that's what I kind of was all my life and still am. I just feel like it's go, 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 go. And you got to, especially being an entrepreneur, because you wear so many hats, you have to do everything, right?
Yeah.
Right now, I'm your classic candidate. I'm like, do I ever need a break? I need, I just need time to relax. And but yes, it can be intimidating. And if you've never just really taken the time for yourself, I know it might feel like a selfish thing, but I think in the end, you have to nurture yourself before you can be willing to give back, right? You can't pour from an empty cup. And if you just are sort of burnt out, like Jesse's speech, you don't have much more to give. So, I invite ladies. I always say, bring your mom or your friend or your sister or a girlfriend. Like, let's do this together, experience it together. You can engage in as much as you want. You can stay quiet and just, absorb. There's no pressure to do anything. You can take in as many of the sessions as you want or speakers, or you could do one or two. It's up to you.
Yeah.
So I think it just allows the ladies that giving them, the chance at just take that time, invest in yourself. You're worth it. You do so much for so many people. Take care of yourself, and then you can give back.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you had known too, our giving back. Speaking of that, because I believe mental health is so important for all of us. And so I have partnered with the Canadian Mental Health Association, and part of or small percentage of the proceeds will be donated back to their charity. And part of that too, we're hosting a contest. So anybody that buys a ticket, they can then nominate somebody that they know that is very deserving of a free retreat, whether it is that, burnt out caregiver or somebody in their community that's gone above and beyond, or the mom that just can't take the time or they can't afford it. We're hosting this contest to be able to give back a free retreat to somebody very deserving.
Mhm. So before this and before all the stuff happening in your life, what were you doing?
So I've done many things. So lots of sales throughout my life. I've been in different sales positions, but for 8 years, I had a partner and we ran a business called Uberistic, and it was an online HR company that it was all about self-promotion and letting yourself be seen, right? I find, it was sort of like take the monster, the work where you apply for jobs, and it's like this random resume that goes out in the world and you never know if anybody's seeing it, or
Yeah, yeah.
excuse me. So yeah, we built this online portal. So we worked that for 8 years. So we let people be seen and heard. It was a 1-minute video pitch. You send in your application, and then you had a full data, like you could see the whole process. Was it actually received? Where am I in the next step, and all of this? So I did that for quite a few years, and then timing, just we went sort of different ways and had different ideas on how that would advance. And then, yeah, so and then I was in different sales positions, and my passion also is in house building. And so we built
Hmm.
10 homes over the past couple of years. And we built, so 3 that we personally lived in. I love the whole process, the design. Our daughter's also an interior decorator, and then our son was taking architecture.
Oh, there you
And
go.
my husband's a man of many trades, so it was yes, we've done it ourselves, and
What
that's a side thing that we love doing.
what's the attraction to that? Is it just building something from literally ground up, right?
Literally ground up, yeah. And you know what? And we didn't divorce. Everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, if you build with your husband,"
Yeah.
you know what? For us, it is a labor of love. Like I think it is like having this vision, just like with any business and with this retreat. And it's like you envision it, and then you do it, and it's just so gratifying. And then you see this beautiful improv. I mean, trust me, there's a lot of little hiccups in between. Nothing's always just like this last build with COVID and all the trades. Nothing is always as smooth as you hope, but yeah, it is. For some, I guess it's not for everybody, but we love the process. We love every step. Working with all the contractors, and yeah, and then the landscaping, we did all the landscaping. That's another
Wow.
passion. And I love just being outside and being,
Yeah.
planting and just seeing everything after 3 years is like, I'm like, how big, look at those trees already, and look what we planted, and now how it looks. And yeah, it's fun to see that.
It's funny you mentioned that because I was just thinking you're talking about the landscaping and being outside, and of course your upcoming retreat is in one of the most gorgeous places in Canada.
Yeah.
So how important do you think it is for people to connect with nature, especially in these days where everything is so technologically based?
Yes, I think that's something that's really forgotten. Just to get out and just smell the air. Like right now, the leaves. Like when you just go for a walk, it's so amazing, and that's so healing. And the grounding, how they just honestly take your shoes off and stand on the grass. That is the most healthy thing for you. Yeah, I think for me, a lot of when I used to call my meditation days, I have a dog, and the off leash is one of my
Hmm.
happy places. And just going and being in the trees and seeing the dogs and the pets run like that, that's where my mind just becomes present. I'm not thinking about work and this and what I have to do. It's like enjoying the moment of being in the nature, the smells, the sounds. I love it. I think it's very therapeutic, and I encourage people to take time, not only for the fitness aspect, but just for the mental break. It's very good for you.
All right, wonderful. Well, thanks
Yeah.
so much, Jackie, for joining us today.
Oh, well, Mario, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, that was Jacquie Verenka, who is owner of JV Ventures Retreats in Edmonton. I'm Mario Toneguzzi with Edmonton's podcast on Canada's Podcast Network. Thanks for joining us today.